crazy person. Like you're the most passionate kisser ever. That way their face never is anything but against your cheek. Like you just basically force their head down into the fucking pillow by kissing them. So like, oh God, like that's your thing. Like I gotta kiss you so hard.
You're just a real passionate guy. Do you fart in front of your wife?
Yes.
Did you just fart?
No.
Is that how that came up?
No.
Does she mind? Or is it like
she says she doesn't. She's pretty honest.
Yeah.
I've never heard her fart, and she doesn't poop. Women don't. Women like have this ability. Does Christina?
Yeah, I would say that she would knock down that myth pretty good.
She takes massive dumps?
I mean, I don't know how the size, but she definitely.
She's never called you in to look at it?
No, we don't do that. But we like to tell each other about our shits. We like to have shit talk a lot.
Your wife will say, "Guess what?"
She'll be like just this morning, she was like, "Hey," and I'm like, I was reading something. She goes, "I'm gonna go take a shit now," and I'm like, "All right." And then she'll come back and just tell me, like, I'll say, "How was it?" She was like, "It was great." I just sat down. Everything just fell out. It was great.
You know Nick's Aunt Chris?
Yeah.
Used to come out of the...
Okay.
Oh! She used to come out of the bathroom and go, "It's out of me!"
That's great.
She's the best. What are your big plans for Christmas, man? What are you doing?
I'm staying...
Is Charo coming in?
No, I'm staying West Coast. My sister...
Charo and Big Tom aren't rolling in?
They're not rolling in. My sister Maria is preggers. So she's down in San Diego.
Is that a nationality? Or?
Yeah, she's half Italian. I'm going down to San Diego to spend Christmas with her, Christina, and my sister's husband's coming in, and we're all...
Your sister who's pregnant, husband doesn't live with her?
Not right now, no. He's locked up.
No, he's not.
No. She's... no. I don't want to get into it.
It's like a baby's daddy thing?
No. They're married. It's just it's just like a work thing where he has to...
All right. So you're going, for the Christmas time, you're going down.
Yeah.
You going to get a Christmas tree?
We are. Yeah, we always get a Christmas tree. We'll get a little one for our place.
Isn't it weird, like, how those lots, first of all, they're not, like, you don't notice them all year, and all of a sudden it's like fucking pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
And then Christmas tree. Like, right away.
And they all look like, everybody who works looks like they just got off of a Greyhound bus. Like, they all have...
Yeah, and
like,
they just stiff-arm Thanksgiving. Yeah. Like, Thanksgiving is a non-existent fucking thing. It's right up in your motherfucking area code Christmas tree time.
And the prices, we have no idea how the prices are set. Like what the market is for trees, and how they're like, no, that's a $95 tree, and you're like, what about this one? They're like, that's $225. You're like, what?
Like, no, that's a Portland fir, man. You're like, what? It's a what? It's Portland fir, and they're like, what do you get the shit out of your ears? It's a Portland fir, and you want it for $90? That's $450.
Example of not knowing a market. It's like when you talk about jewelry to somebody, and they're like, that's a $28,000 ring right there. And you're like, why? They're like, you're fucking stupid.
Like, look at the puma's eyes; they're glistening.
And then the thing next
glisten
to it,
eyes.
That's $100. You want it? Yeah, it's total. It's a racket, dude. That's a total racket.
Do you like Christmas or do you hate it?
I really like Christmas. I like the season.
I just realized that at the Irvine Improv, like 2 weeks before Christmas, when everyone's going to be fucking stressed out about their money. I always pull that nice weekend. I'm always at like the Ontario Improv on like Labor Day weekend. They're like, no, it'll be great. I was at Wise Guys in Utah on Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
The guy goes, I can't have you come in, man. I go, what? Every fucking Mormon's going to be down at the lake this weekend? And guess what? They were.
Really?
That poor guy almost put him out of business. He had to pay me at the end of the week. Keith Stubbs?
Yeah.
And thank God
He's a great guy.
He's super nice. His wife is the coolest. I dig the Mormons. I think I'm going to vote for Mitt Romney because his penis shoots cash.
I usually get, it's even better what I get. I'll get like, I'll come in and do a show somewhere, and they'll be like, I'm like, how are we looking tonight? And they're like, not good. And I'm like,
not good.
And I'll be like, it'll be like a Thursday, right? I'm like, how are your Thursdays? And they're like, they're usually great. And I'm like, so is there something going on in town? And they're like, yeah, there's a lot going on in town. And they'll list like there's, Peter Gabriel, there's a tequila festival, there's a fucking...
Oh, yeah, and it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, and
like,
it's across the street in Detroit.
Cool. And then they're like, and you're you, so that doesn't help. Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I used to sell a lot more tickets. I think it's just people used to have a lot more disposable income.
Yeah.
Either that or I'm not very popular anymore. But there's some comics that like sell theaters, and I'm not sure like what's happening.
Yeah.
Like... Brian Regan deserves to be a theater guy, but that's a guy that's only just on like Letterman's.
It's bizarre.
Like he wasn't in any movies. He's never been on sitcoms. He hasn't hosted you know,
There's a few
I'll
of those
use myself
guys.
as an example, like Last Comic Standing, a show
Yeah.
about comedy,
Yeah.
and he's on a tour bus, and he's selling 2,000-seat arenas,
Yep.
or theaters rather, like 3 nights a week, as he should be, because he's awesome.
Right.
And like Jim Gaffigan's another guy
Right.
who's just doing theaters, and you go, wait a minute,
Their stand-up just really...
what am I doing at Uncle Sputchy's Chuckle Hut in fucking Riverside?
I know, man. Their
Right
stand-up-
after the instructional sex symposium.
I think those guys. I mean, like Jim definitely seems like a guy where it's big. It's big to like put out. I think you have to put out product. You have to put out not just tour, put out a special, put out that DVD,
And sell your merch.
Well, I think the DVD is the biggest thing. Like having the special that somebody can buy and get, and then that when they fall in love with it, you come back with that new hour and you turn over specials. I think that's what I see as like the formula. That's the only thing I can see. You got a special. When does it come out?
I don't know. It'll be on Showtime. I think I'm going to call it Master of None.
Really?
Yeah.
It's coming out.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what's coming out. Me and Eddie have talked about it. It's been a while. I guess through editing and laughs. Bert Kreischer and I, we got to talk about this real quick. On Twitter, like a month ago, Bert and I had an impromptu comedy draft.
Oh, yeah.
And then I asked people who do they think won the draft. And
Yeah.
I basically blocked people because of what they thought.
Yeah.
So you were witnessing the comedy draft because Bert called you in. Bert's first pick overall he had the first pick. He had Russell Peters.
Right.
He called him the Aaron Rodgers of comedy. 7 sold out shows tonight in New York.
Right.
Half the people listening to this just went, "Who's Russell Peters?"
Yeah. Well,
However, Russell Peters is a guy that you cannot get a ticket when he's in town.
impossible. He is just so. If you don't know, like this, and this is just a not
It's a lot of
disputable-
Indian people.
Right? But it's a not disputable fact. He is, however you want to say it, the biggest comedian in the world. He's the only person that goes to, with the exception of Antarctica, he goes and South America. He goes to every continent and fills up, if not theaters, arenas. So, he is.
And just because he's, do you think like guys like him, like Joe Coy, because he's like half Filipino, and like Latino comics, if they play like Ontario, they sell out?
I think.
Do you think a guy like him, because is he Indian?
He is, but I think his success,
Like all of Asia, he gets the Indians, the Sri Lankans.
his success makes sense, and it makes you go, "Oh my God, I can't."
What makes sense that they?
Here's what makes
this
sense.
group of people say, finally, someone that represents us.
Yes, we don't think about it in terms when you're like a white guy. You don't think about it in terms of like who's playing to you, because the majority of people you see playing to you are talking about a shared experience.
Yeah.
And if you're any other race or demographic, and you're not, like we have, let's say the majority plays to us. Then you have other genres that we know very well that was started, let's say by, Dick Gregory, and then you go Red Fox and Richard Pryor. They're talking about the black experience. It translates to us because we live amongst each other, but they're sharing the black experience, and then that's we know hundreds of comics who do that.
And blacks love it because it's about them.
It's about, of course,
And white people love it because you get to find out what it's like to have a black experience.
and exactly, and
so
then
finally, there's a guy on stage talking about the Indian that lives in
And-
Canada experience,
well,
and that's what sells out the
he's-
fucking O2 Arena. What do you got? Rocks in your head?
he has
Smarten up.
he plays to everybody though. His audience is in.